Good morning, dear students. Let's begin our social science class. So, today we are starting with our new chapter of history, that is Rise of Nationalism in Europe. So, this chapter is given in your section number 1 in Events and Processes. So, here we will be seeing about how the rise of nationalism took place in Europe and what all things that lead to nationalism in Europe are to be discussed in this chapter. So here we are only discussing about the European countries. So here first thing that we come on this chapter, we see there is one painting. Now the painter who painted actually this painting, or the artist which we can say, was Frederick Soreyu. So he was the one who had painted this picture. So it is popularly known as Soreyu's painting. So what do we see in this picture? We see the nationalism of Europe, means how the people of Europe are uniting themselves and they are now becoming nationalized and they are free from the dominant rules. You can also see that the monarchical remains of the constitutions that were there, that were pre-existing in Europe, have been now all demolished and their remains are there on the ground. You can also see that in the heaven the gods of Europe are present, which are seeing all this, whatever is happening in the Europe. You can also see there is one statue. Now what is this statue and what is its main importance that we are going to study in this chapter? There are two main statues that we are studying over here, Marini and Germania. So now let's start, or let's read the topic regarding this painting. So it was a dream of worldwide democratic and social republics, the pact between nations, that was printed by Frederick Soreyu in 1848. Now let's start reading about this. In 1848, Frederick Soreyu, a French artist, prepared a series of 4 prints visualizing his dream of a world made up of democratic and social republics. So it was actually about democratic social republics. Now he wanted such type of world to be established, as he called them. So he painted this picture actually so that he need to show the nationalized and democratic country. The first print, that is of figure 1 of series, show the people of Europe and America, men and women of all age and social class, marching in a long train and offering homage to Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. Now you can see how beautifully this diagram has been drawn over here. You can see the Statue of Liberty is present here and the people of America and Europe are passing by from here, forming a train or a long chain, and here they are offering homage, or they are giving a type of respect to Statue of Liberty. As you would recall, artists of the time of French Revolution personified liberty as female figure, and here you can recognize the torch of enlightenment she bears in one hand and the charter of rights of man in the other. So you can see, students, over here when we talk about this statue, so here you can see that is one enlightenment torch which is motivating actually the people of and it is giving actually the people a motivation for being nationalized. And the second one, you can see the list of charter of right, where all the rights of men and all the duties are given, so that after nationalized French, what duties a man should perform. So that is given over here. On the earth, in the foreground of image, as I already told you, lie the shattered remains of symbols of absolutist institutions. So absolutist is literally a government or system of rule that has no restraints on the power exercised. You can see over here. In history, the term refers to a form of monarchical government that was centralized, militarized, and repressive. And now, in Soreyu's utopian vision, now utopian is a vision of society that is ideal, which does not actually exist. The people of world are grouped as distinct nations identified through their flags and national custom. Leading the procession, way past the Statue of Liberty, are United States and Switzerland. So we saw that near Statue of Liberty were America and Europe, and after them the past were United States and Switzerland, which by this time were already nation states, as the countries in long train were passing through the Statue of Liberty at that the same time they were getting nationalized. Let's continue further, students. Now France, identifiable by the revolutionary tricolor, has just reached the statue. She is followed by people of Germany bearing the black, red and gold flag. Interestingly, at the time when Soreyu created this image, the German people did not yet exist as a united nation. So it was actually his imagination that France also should exist as United States, but it was not actually at that time. The flag they carry is an expression of liberal hopes. In 1848, to unify the numerous German-speaking principalities into a nation-state under a democratic constitution. Following the German people are the people of Austria, Kingdom of Two Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary and Russia. So these all are also the people which are following France. From the heaven above, Christ, saint and angels gaze upon the scene. They have been used by the artists to symbolize fraternity among the nation of the world. In this chapter, we'll deal with many of the issues visualized by Soriot in figure 1. So whatever the issues Frederick Soriot actually showed in his painting, we are going to study over here all those issues in detail. During the 19th century, nationalism emerged as a force which brought about sweeping changes in political and mental world of Europe. So that time actually the nationalism actually entered in Europe and its areas in 19th century, and that brought a much change. The end result of these changes was the emergence of nation state in place of multinational dynastic empire of Europe. So here it led to emergence of the nation states in the Europe, which were actually replaced by the dynastic empires. The concept and practice of modern state in which a centralized power exercised sovereign control over a clearly defined territory had been developing over a long period of time in Europe. But a nation state was one in which majority of its citizens and not only its rulers came to develop a sense of common identity and shared history or descent. So actually a nation state was one where all of the public as well as the ruler had a common history. This commonness did not exist from time immemorial. It was forced to struggles through the action of leaders and common people. This chapter will look at the diverse processes through which nation states and nationalism came into being in the 19th century of Europe. So here we are going to discuss about all those things which had brought a change in Europe which led to its nationalism. Now before we start, we need to see one new word, that is plebiscite, a direct vote by which all the people of region are asked to accept or reject a proposal. So now let's start with the first one, that is the French Revolution and the idea of nation. So here we are going to start about the French Revolution that we have already studied in class 9th, and also how the idea came of being a nation state. Now this we have already learned, so there is no need of explanation again, but let us read it again. Let us take a brief look at the French Revolution. The first clear expression of nationalism came with the French Revolution in 1789, that we already learned. France, as you would remember, was a full-fledged territorial state in 1789 under the rule of an absolute monarch. So the monarch existed there. The political and constitutional changes that came in the wake of French Revolution led to transfer of sovereignty from monarchy to a body of French citizens. So actually it was that to transfer the powers from monarchy to the French citizen was their main aim. The revolution proclaimed that it was people who would henceforth constitute the nation and shape its destiny. From the very beginning, the French revolutionaries introduced various measures and practices that could create a sense of collective belonging or identity among the French people. So that was the major aim of the French revolutionaries, to unite the people. The ideas of la patrie, that is the fatherland, and les citoyens, that is the citizen, emphasize the notion of united community enjoying equal rights under a constitution. So there should be a common constitution where all of them should have equal right, and it was inspired by some slogans like La Patrie and Les Citoyens. These are actually the French words. A new French flag, the tricolor, was chosen to replace the former royal standard. So now actually a new French flag was developed. The State General was elected by body of active citizens and renamed the National Assembly, and new hymns were composed, oaths taken, martyrs commemorated, all in the name of nation. A centralized administrative system was put in place, and it formulated uniform laws for all the citizens within this territory. Internal custom duties and dues were abolished, and a uniform system of weights and measures were adopted. So these are all the precautions which are taken during the French Revolution by the people. The regional dialects were discouraged, means any particular language, their priority, or any religion priority. These all the things were now discouraged, and French, as it was spoken and written in Paris, became the common language of the nation. Revolutionaries further declared that it was the mission and destiny of French nation to liberate the people of Europe from despotism, and in other words, to help the other people of Europe to become nations. So it was actually only despotism, that they were having a common ruler, and the ruler was actually very harsh to them. So French people, their main aim was to free all the nations, all the states of Europe, and make them a nation state. When the news of events in France reached the different cities of Europe, students and other members of the educated middle class began setting up Jacobin club. Their activity and campaign prepared the way for French armies which moved into Holland, Belgium, Switzerland and much of the Italy in 1790. With the outbreak of revolutionary wars, the French armies began to carry the idea of nationalism abroad. So after 1790, it was a time when all the other parts of Europe also had a sense of nationalism. So that's all for the day, students. Thank you and have a nice day.